Hi, John.
Hey, Alex.
Do you know what I hate?
What is that you hate?
Like, I don't know, the Italian countryside? Horses?
I'm not sure you should check out Ladyhawke,
Yeah, there's a lot of Italian countryside and horses in that movie.
an Italian horse.
A movie I've heard about my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen, even though this is our unofficial movies John hasn't seen series. I'm with you on this one.
Right.
And I've heard about this movie, referenced reasonably frequently in my life, in that I was aware of it. I knew Matthew Broderick was in it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Rutger Hauer was in it. I guess the question I have for you is, in the year 2021, which I've heard this movie referenced this year, why is this movie remembered? Because it is a snoozer.
In the 80s, you have to understand, and I'm surprised you don't remember this, nothing in the 80s made people happier than Matthew Broderick. We loved it. We'd gather around copies of Ferris Bueller. So I'm surprised that, like, this... I guess I was just okay enough with Ferris Bueller. I was satisfied enough from that I didn't this movie, because he does a lot of that in this.
Yes.
Biloxi Blues loves to monologue.
Here's the problem with this one is Cameron he was the best guy in that movie.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, you were wrong, because Cameron is the best in that movie. The dour guy with a weird relationship with his dad, shockingly
somehow spoke to you.
That is the one to one.
Yeah, I identified with the most normal guy who was totally cool, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I
didn't
snoozy.
I didn't hate it. I think it's
I didn't
slow.
hate it. It was just boring.
Yeah, I think it's slow in places. But I think it's very pretty. I think
it's shot beautifully. Yes.
Yeah, they did show some just amazing locations. Particularly now when so much stuff is just green screened and whatever. Like when you actually get the camera outside. Sometimes I thought all the performances were really great. I think Matthew Broderick brought some levity to an otherwise kind of.
I think I agree with you, other than I think Rutger Hauer was very miscast. I didn't buy him in this.
Mm-hmm.
Him as kind of a heroic character he's villainy, because as I told you, the audience doesn't know that, so I'm not sure how much I have to say about the Ladyhawke there. So I was looking at the IMDb, and it turns out Rutger Hauer was cast as bad guy captain.
Yeah.
And then it was supposed to be Kurt Russell.
Which I can imagine even less.
Really? Oh, I could see him slotting into that 100%.
I can't buy Kurt Russell in medieval. It's that face and that kind of rugged Kurt Russelliness. I can't see that.
I would have liked it because
anywhere past the 19th century.
Well, the thing but here in this one, you have to remember, and here's the 100% best thing about this movie, is that there's 80s synth score, which I think paired with Kurt Russell's face, chef's kiss.
Yeah, that could go well. The synth score by Andrew Powell is bonkers. I was not prepared for it to go as hard as it did.
It opens with synths all over your face and chest. It is holy shit.
And it's it's funny because that was when we did the Knight's Tale. Part of the whole thing was oh, look at this medieval thing with this anachronistic music. Yeah. Alan Powell or Andrew Powell got so mad when he heard that when that movie came out that he ate his synthesizer and died.
Yeah.
Because that's he just did this mean nothing to you people? Am I a joke to you?
Do you mean Alan Parsons?
No, it's Andrew Powell from Alan Parsons.
Oh, okay, the Alan Parsons Project. Yeah. Okay, all right, yeah. Because I don't know who Andrew Powell is. I'm Alan Parsons Project did the music in this. Okay, I didn't know that was all right, gotcha.
Yeah, but it's...
Yeah, because they're named after the guy that had sex with a rocket with Aleister Crowley's face on it, right?
That was Jack Parsons.
Yeah.
I'm
just making dumb jokes about names.
Oh, okay. I thought that was an actual thing.
Oh, it might be. I don't know. I know nothing about. I looked up.
Alan Parsons is an actual dude.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it said Alan Parsons Project or whatever, or I think that's the name of it. And I just wrote that down, and then went, oh, it'd be funny if it's named after this, and then I'm going to say it's Aleister Crowley shaped rocket.
It's Ellen Parsons Project.
See, I don't know who that is. I don't know anything, John.
Ellen, the talk show host.
Is her last name Parsons?
No, but just imagine that it's Ellen, but she's having sex magic to conjure and berating her staff.
I've heard that she is a shrewish harpy of a woman, so
she's very unpleasant.
I would not be surprised if she does weird pederast sex magic. No offense to you Thelemites out there. It's just, you all come across as pederasts and weirdos.
The views of Alex Bolan are Alex Bolan's alone.
No, I think really if you just look into it.
John is not liable for any of this.
You mean the religion that uses attractive young women as an altar?
More just about Ellen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, Ellen's
I'm less concerned about the religious aspect than the mighty hammer.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Is she still on the air?
I don't... Yeah, I think so. I think there was that brouhaha, and then she like threw up and whatever.
Oh, well, I take it back. I was thinking about Ellen Pompeo is who I was just accusing of pederasty.
How dare you?
Who I
Grey's Anatomy is a perfect show.
Literally don't even know who that is. Is that Grey's Anatomy?
That's Grey's Anatomy.
Okay. We open with Matthew Broderick as Mouse/Gaston/Philippe, breaking out of his prison cell.
Aquila.
Yeah, which is owl or some kind of bird in Latin. I don't remember. I didn't see that on IMDb. I remember that from Latin. I'm like, that's a bird name because there's a lot of bird stuff in this.
Yeah,
if you notice, the name of it is Ladyhawke, which is also a kind of bird. In
Warhammer 40K, they will make the sign of the Aquila, which I think is their.
Get out. We're done here. Warhammer 40K on my Cool Guy podcast. So yeah, Broderick breaks out, and we get our first instance of Matthew Broderick having his monologue with God. I find this somewhat charming, but they either needed more of it or less of it. Because it's a lot in the beginning, and then he kind of forgets to do it for about 45, 50 minutes.
Well, he's around other people is the problem.
Yeah, but it's one of those, when he does it at the end, I'm like, that thing for the first act that I forgot about.
No, it's not. Matthew Broderick has this kind of like this boyish charm that's very enjoyable, but you also kind of want to dump his books and shove them in a locker. And you know that you could. And I think that helps with that. You're like, I don't feel threatened by this guy. I could take him.
So yeah, he talks to God, and he has like a fun rapport with God. At one point, I don't think I wrote down what he did, but he's basically, hey, God, I'll never steal again. And then he steals like 3 seconds later. It's like, look, when I said that, you knew what kind of guy I was. Yeah. And it's like a fun little, that's good.
Well, I also like that when he's talking to Rutger Hauer's character about it later. Is like, look, I have no honor. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to change. And I just like it's very upfront about it without being like overly keen.
What is it? So I don't know if I can describe this well enough for you to answer, but what is that kind of calling on? Because it seems like that wise talking kind of page boy thing. It's kind of tropey. Like, I feel like I've seen that before, but I can't think of a single example of it.
I mean, it might be more so now. I don't know, Christian Slater in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
I mean, that's probably it. Yeah. No, I think he was more like simmering, angsty.
I just remember him having a couple of good zingers.
Oh, did he?
I don't remember. That's like I said. That's just what I remember from.
You might be thinking of Men in Tights.
I always am. Yeah. Oh, the movie. But he escapes this apparently unescapable dungeon, excuse me, for a bit I'm like, they're sending a lot of guards after this guy for just being a thief. But he was already like sentenced to death, and people seem to know who he was. But also, it seemed like it was more PR for the dungeon of no, you can't actually get out.
So when like head bad guy priest was like, hey, you have to catch him, to head bad guy cop, I don't know anybody. He basically said the reputation of this thing being unescapable is on the line. So you best be going and you best be murdering him. Yeah.
Which I kind of like, because it does have this is a fairy tale, but it's very bizarre how it's in that. Yeah, this initial thing is this PR push. Basically, we got to go kill this guy because he's making our jails look. And then when you first are introduced to, excuse me, I got like right at the bucks.
Glaven.
When you're introduced to the whole Rutger Hauer, Michelle Pfeiffer conundrum, you know exactly, but Matthew Broderick doesn't, because why would he? Why would the idea of a person being able to turn into a bird and one into a wolf ever enter your?
I mean, speak for yourself.
I mean, yeah.
I just like the first 2 years I did the show with you, I had like this weird badger theory with you. Mm-hmm. I won't get into it, but like it turns out it was wrong, and that's why that badger skeleton is in the other room.
But like, yeah, it's just in the guy in this world. There's no reason. There's not like magic exists that he knows about. And
well, I mean, he is having a conversation with God, so.
Well, that's acceptable magic. That's the approved magic. This is this
is going to bring up a weird point. So the crux of the curse is that the head vicar was in love with Ladyhawke. Mm-hmm. What's her something Bow?
Yeah, Isabeau. She was getting down with Rutger Hauer, so he curses them.
Since when do priests have curse power?
Well, that's the thing.
Did I miss something?
No, but that's the thing. Like in a lot of fairy tales, something like that. Usually, it's something like that where it's like the king was so mad that he cursed them, and this curse, whatever. No, they specifically talk about the what's his name? Is it Ignatius? His buddy.
It's something like that. Yeah, it's not Ignatius. It's
where is it?
Tacitus or something.
Imperius.
Imperius. That's it. Yeah.
When Imperius is telling the story, he talks about how he like conjured up Satan himself, or like directly talked to the forces of evil to get this done. So he like did some evil incantation and do it. And I like that that's kind of just sort of tossed out there. That it's not just this, he was so mad that it happened, but he actually, no, he delved into the dark powers, which makes him as a priest even worse because he's doing exactly what he shouldn't be doing.
I guess just because of the fairy tale element is weird about this, because usually they have a love that's against, the common order or whatever, but it's like, no, he's like a high-ranking official, and she's very good-looking and has all her teeth, so she's probably like top-tier echelon, upper-crust type people. So it seems like their relationship is probably fine. It's just, so it's like, the moral of this...
jealousy.
Yeah, the moral of this fairy tale is, don't let a guy look at your girl, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, that's the...
It's Rutger Hauer violated bros before hoes.
Yeah, I suppose so. Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, true. So... Matthew Broderick's they're chasing him. They get to he goes to like a wine bar and tries to skull back some wine, and the soldiers from the castle are there, and we get our first wacky adventure scene.
I thought it was fun.
It was fun. The only reason I have a bit of sarcasm in my voice is because I watched the rest of the movie. Because the first part, I went, oh, this is like a fun little, I even said it's like a fun parkour scene where he's like jumping on top of
like the lattice work or whatever.
And then Rutger Hauer shows up and saves him with a crossbow, and there's like a nice escape sequence where Rutger Hauer like slings him on his horse, and they go through jump over a gate, and it's like a whole nice thing. But then, like, the rest of the movie, there's a whole lot of just like, and now we're going to stop for a scene on a horse that's action-filled. And now here's your, it's just, there was some kind of mandate that every X number of minutes, and this movie, editing wise, just the pacing of it is dog shit.
Well, I think
and I like this opening, and then it just, whew.
I think they spend a lot of time with the transformation element. And I think some of that is also because you're supposed to be with Matthew Broderick figuring it out. But you as the audience are like, you've seen enough of this kind of stuff. You're like, this concept isn't strange to me. So it's you're a little bit like, yeah, get on. Why aren't you figuring this out yet? This is so obvious.
Yeah. And there's also just so much like establishing shots for things that don't need establishing shots. Like, it's just kind of the pacing. It's just this, it's not even like 70s pacing, where 70s pacing feels like, I'm doing this, I'll get there in my own time, and you feel like you're being taken care of. This is just like, I don't know, I just kind of want to like point the camera over there for a little bit,
Well, I think some of that, like for me, some of it is the repetition of it, where it's just, I felt like we like between the introduction of Alfred Molina as the trapper and like to when he actually like gets involved, it seemed like there was a huge gap there of like, oh yeah, we're just kind of spinning our wheels of now he's covered. Because that's the curse they're under, by the way, people who haven't seen that he's conjured up the devil. And the devil, rather than being like, oh, I could just boil their eyeballs out of their head if that's what you want, or just kill him in all these ways. And no, the devil in like his full like old scratch mode is like, I'm going to curse them so that at night he turns into a wolf and at daytime she's a boyd. And then they can't see each other, but they're going to hang out, be human together. Isn't that going to be terrible? And it is. It's, existentially awful. I'm surprised that the priest wasn't more like, yeah, but what do I get out of this?
Yeah.
But, hey, it's the devil. What are you going to do?
Because the priest also, like, was into that lady, so he could have just cursed him to be a wolf all the time.
Yeah.
And then just take her, because it was, like, the 1300s, and you could just point at a lady and be like, I own her now.
Right, yeah. I'm the priest. I can hush this up. I can have people killed for escaping my jail. I think it's just, when you're dealing with Satan, you're already on the back foot. So he probably didn't.
I'm just saying that's, like, pretty, kind of anti-Satan is, I like, it's a bit Christian propaganda, is what I'm saying.
Well,
I mean, what did Satan really do? I mean, hey, how many people did Satan kill in the Bible? Like, how many people did God kill? The whole planet.
Well, to be fair, I don't know that they mentioned it's Satan specifically. It might be one of his, he's got, like, it could be Belial, could be whatever, They kind of run, there's a lot of middle management kind of running the show.
Okay. Either way.
Go a little wild.
I mean, I still think, I'm just saying chill a little bit. I like, this isn't a place.
I calls them as I see them.
That we throw religions under the bus. Except if you remember about 10 minutes ago. So this is kind of a sequence. There's a little bit here where it's basically Matthew Broderick and Rutger Hauer getting to know each other. And here's the one little sequence I like is Matthew Broderick, now that he's got a coin purse that he stole before, just waves it around like he's got a big dick.
Yeah.
And it's such a funny physical bit of acting, the way that he just kind of looks down and is like, Yeah,
and it's like, do you have money? And he's like jiggling it like it's his scrotum or something.
It's such a fun, like, Matthew Broderick is kind of charming in a weird way.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just a dumb physical comedy move that could have been done anyway. And then on a meta sense, it's not that I never understood when people in the past have referred to a coin purse as being your testes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, I didn't understand that. But this really went, oh, yeah. I mean, like, back in the day of coin purse, like, that's, of course that would,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other nickname you would give your boys.
Yeah.
That's Matthew and that's Broderick.
That was my thesis in
It's again-
college in my medieval studies class with medieval junk and how it's referred to.
Yes. Now here's the section about large turkey legs and watching jousting indoors. Mr. Bolin, this is about medieval times, right? Is medieval times a countrywide thing? Does that even
Yes.
make sense?
Yeah,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Because as I'm saying that, I'm like, ooh, I hope that that's just not one weird place in New Jersey.
No, it was big enough to be featured in the cable guide.
Yes,
so.
I was just having that thought of, wait, no, that's in a movie. Yeah.
America's classic, much loved classic. The
With
Cable
Matthew
Guy.
Broderick.
With Matthew Broderick, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I wish I was better at speaking, that I could have pretended that I did that on purpose.
Yeah. How prescient of Richard Donner. Which I have to do say that Richard Donner directed this movie and passed away fairly recently. That dude has had an impressive run of just a wide range of stuff. The Goonies, Superman, The Omen, Lethal Weapon.
He did Lethal Weapon?
He did Lethal
Oh, shit.
Weapon.
Huh.
Maverick, Scrooged, which is absolutely fantastic.
No, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The
Scrooge
Toy,
I really like.
which is awful, but whatever. Free Willy was
Come on,
him.
The Toy is one of those cases of something that just gets better with age. I mean, just every
Yeah.
year that goes by, that movie is less and less problematic.
Oh no, he didn't. I'm sorry, he didn't do.
Audience at home, if we're not going to get into it, but if you would like to find out what the 80s were like, maybe the 70s, go and look up The Toy with Richard Pryor. Yeah, it's a thing.
That is also that is the movie that made me hate speed up film to make because that happens
Oh, is
all
that
the
in
time
there?
in
I
that
don't
movie.
remember
So
that,
I
yeah.
should be angry at Richard Donner that I am, but he's made so many good movies that it's hard to. But he's just an amazing prolific career and doing a bunch of different stuff. And so you have a guy. Look at this versus Krull, where you have Peter Yates doing Krull, who's like, I'm taking this on as a challenge. I don't know what I'm doing, and it shows. And Richard Donner just yeah, I'll do fantasy. I'll do a story about kids going into a cave.
This
It's
is
the
much
same shit.
more competent than Krull,
Mhm.
but Krull I found a lot more endearing. This just seemed like somebody that's good at making movies making a boring movie. But Krull was so weird and I kind of all over the place that it
There's a certain
it's like friendlier.
This is fine.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit harder to get behind. But it's like this is a perfectly
Yeah. The parts where he's meeting Rutger Hauer, just to go back into it, is not necessarily that he needs to be Kurt Russell. I just, because that's the guy that was on the call sheet. Just can't buy Rutger Hauer in like a romantic role. Like he's got villain face. Like he feels like he should be a bad guy.
Well,
and I
he
can't.
kind of is in this, and I like it because he is sort of this romantic lead, but a
Well,
lot of the movie is trying to stop him from from being too romantic, basically.
Oh, that scene where he tried to rape the bird. Yeah.
Yes,
That was
the
gross. Yeah.
Trying to get it to land, puts the hawk glove on his dick. and
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
get the hawk to-
I was trying to figure out which one would be worse, whether the wolf was having sex with Michelle Pfeiffer, or
Yeah, I don't.
it's all terrible.
It's all bad. Yeah, it's kind of a distinction without a difference.
he just every time he wakes up, the bird's cloaca is on his mouth.
Ugh.
I'm gross. Here's a surprise: when Ladyhawke first turns into Lady, I went, "Holy fuck, is that Michelle Pfeiffer?" I had no idea she was in this movie.
The box art is her face.
No, the box art I have is Rutger Hauer kind of fading out, and then I think there might be a bird in the front and like a castle. There's no people on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was actually a Twitter thread I was reading today about straight to DVD releases or re-releases that have been get this badly Photoshop artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Because someone got more famous. Like the original Half Baked was Dave Chappelle and Jim Brewer. And then if you find a copy of Half Baked now, it's Dave Chappelle and the Brewer.
Oh, that's
way
funny.
in the
Yeah, that's
back.
great. Yeah. Well, so it doesn't come up much, but this was one of those rare moments of, oh, I totally get why she, like, she is so, perfect casting. But she's so good in this tonally because she's got that angelic otherworldly thing. But then when she gets down and dirty and just wants to stab a motherfucker, she's there for it. It's a pretty good bit.
She brings weight to what is sort of a damsel in distress character.
Yeah.
And not just she punches a guy, but when he first finds her and he's like, "Are you flesh or are you spirit?" She's like, "I am sorrow." And you're like, yeah, okay, I believe that. Which is what's funny. I was reading something about this movie where she didn't want to take this role because she didn't want to cast as a princess because she had struggled against people telling her she couldn't act because she was.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And I understand that. Like that's a thing. That's why it can be hard for people just get typecast for being pretty to land actual roles. But it is kind of a funny excuse. You know, it's just like one of those like, oh well, I would love to play football, but I'm just too good, and they were worried it was going to ruin the rest of the team.
So I just saw on that note, not that we need more evidence of Hollywood being shitty to women, but it was Helen Mirren in like the 1960s on, I'm going to say Dick Cavett, and I'm 100% wrong. But his question was basically like, is it tough to be considered a real actress because you got them big ass titties? And she's like, her response is, well, so you think that acting and large bosom are connected? And, you know, like, I think his question was fair. He just needed to word it like, this is a view of the world, but I mean, it was the 60s and he was a dude. So he was just like, them titties, what are they about? What's going on over there? But it was such a, because I mean, it's Helen Mirren, who's a fucking genius actor, but it really is this thing where you have to fight against being too good looking. And Michelle Pfeiffer in this it's almost like impossible that that's a real life human that's on the screen. But then, she brings it. Like,
but she grounds it like really, really nicely.
Yeah, it's just a rare moment of like, oh yeah, this lady's like totally at some point going to dress up in latex and whip shit in a department store.
That was my first thought as well. Well, so basically, they're on the run from Aquila, from the bishop. This is just basically kind of them getting to know each other, and I kind of like those scenes a bit. Like I said before, with Matthew Broderick's whole thing about him getting involved with this, because it seems like he should just be like, oh, thanks, and fucks off. But he's kind of forced to get involved and then kind of eventually wants to get involved. And I liked that arc for it. It didn't feel forced or
his is pretty natural. The part that I just kind of get lost here is there's a few spots where it's a 2-hour movie and it should be an hour and a half, maybe an hour 40. And this is one of the spots where they just kind of just do some stuff. They're like, I don't know, I'm going to walk over here for a while. Here's some shots. I think maybe we get in a fight. Oh, there's this weird scene here where they're at head priest guys, and
when they Imperius?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the lead soldier guy shows up and is like, hey, turns out what's his name is still alive. Rutger Hauer's still alive. But when he runs up to tell him that, it's this lady is dressed in an owl dress doing like a weird dance. It's like Manos Hand of Fate kind of style dress. It was just like the weirdest shit. Like, oh, this guy is fucking obsessed with Barbatal. What's her name? Isabeau. Yeah. It just goes back to why did he let the bird escape then? Like, obviously he's obsessed with her. Like, he's got people play acting her in the, I mean, unless he's like some weird bird worshiper. I mean, does he worship Moloch? That's an owl. You should know better.
Yeah. I mean, I think he escaped with, Navarre escaped with.
How did they let that happen?
I don't know. I'm not a bishop who's cursed people to be a hawk and a wolf.
Yeah, you're no better than a knight or maybe a rook.
That's true. That's true. I will take that with pride. They eventually make their way to Imperius. Well, part of that is that one of the times they're ambushed by the guards, they get hit by crossbow bolts, and like Michelle Pfeiffer in hawk form gets hit by crossbow bolt, and Matthew Broderick's like, yeah, that thing's done. Sorry, buddy. Not realizing, though, the love of his.
That was actually
life.
A fun bit because like, we could eat it. Yeah. There's actually a runner of that thing getting eaten a few times.
Well, and later when he's talking to it, where he's
we'll get on. Oh, no. John, we'll get to that. I have very few notes on this. We will get to that. So they have to go to a ruined castle to see Imperius.
Yeah, because Rutger Hauer's like, you gotta go see my boy. He'll know what to do. And it's played by Leo McRae.
Please tell me you know who this guy is, because he is the best guy in this. Yeah,
it's played by Leo McKern. I mainly know him as a reoccurring number 2 in the TV show The Prisoner. He's absolutely fine. I like to consider him the thinking man's Brian Blessed.
I find that slightly offensive.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Why though? Because you liked Brian Blessed too.
Yeah, but he's a burly British guy.
Yeah,
that seems like he's hard living. But he's not as in your face about it. He's more intellectual.
I love that style of acting to the point that like I wish I could be that. Like maybe in my 60s I could start doing this. Of just be like a just some weird looking guy that just talks strange. And that's it. That's your whole fucking role.
That's what sucks. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for this House of Goo that's coming out.
No, I have not.
They put Jared Leto in it, and some he looks like Jeffrey Tambor basically, but they put a bunch of makeup on him. You can just hire a weird looking guy that's probably a great actor.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
that's what the 70s was about. Is just these weird looking dudes being great. I mean, Peter Boyle exists for. I mean, not anymore, but in the 70s he did. But yeah, it's just being. That's a lost kind of that guy actor, I think.
Yeah. So he brings the injured bird to Imperius, which is, of course, one of the 3 unforgivable curses that you'll put the person completely under your control. Which is, I think,
a Harry Potter thing, isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
God damn it!
I bet you that guy, if he was alive, was in Harry Potter.
I think he'd be dead by then. I think he made it a point to die before he was in them.
Anyway, so he casts Imperio.
But so he gets the Hawk, Imperius gets the Hawk kind of taken care of.
Oh, you know what happens here? When he's taking care of the Hawk, there's this weird scene. There's a couple kind of avant-garde scenes that happen in this movie. Mm-hmm. And this, they cut back and forth to, it seems like the priest guy was in a shitload of pain, the lead bad priest guy. Do you know his name?
I thought his name.
Oh, I thought that was the name of the town.
You're right. He's the Bishop of Aquila.
Okay, let's just call him the Bishop. No, the Bishop is perfect. That's a better way to put it. Because this guy's also a priest, and I'm so in the woods of not describing people. So while he's pulling the arrow out, they cut back to the Bishop, and he seems to be having pain from it. There's this weird overlay trippy scene that doesn't happen again in the movie. It's just a really odd, I don't know, maybe it was... They had a couple other options that they did during the filming, and for some reason only one made it into the final edit.
I honestly don't remember that bit. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying
Well, it's like a cross dissolve, and you see him go on his shoulder or whatever, and having it almost
he's connected to it. Well, I mean that's the devil for you. But they do a couple of trippy things. I like the way they deal with the transformations in this. It's very
yes.
Well, CG isn't a thing. So we're going to make it just this weird dreamlike thing. Like when she's falling from the building and turns into the
That's
Hawk,
the best one.
Yeah. And even when Rutger Hauer transforms, you see his eye. But it does make you kind of wonder how do they separate those lives? Is Michelle Pfeiffer just walking around just pooping wherever? Does Rutger Hauer want to eat raw meat during the day, or are they apportioned hours?
I would say apportioned hours.
It makes sense to me. I don't, there's no real answer.
Because, I feel I don't know Michelle Pfeiffer well, but it looks like she wouldn't have a mix of both, shit and piss coming out of the same hole, as well as the reproductive organs, aka the cloaca.
No, but still,
I don't care. I just want to say cloaca again.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. The cloaca defense.
Oh, and no, to be fair though, because Rutger Hauer totally makes Matthew Broderick his beta, which comes from a bad understanding of wolves.
See, so she's pooping up a storm.
And there's a dance scene, which is a movie called Dances with Wolves. So I feel there's a psychological reading here that you did real well to bring up.
Yeah, that's some hard evidence that I can't refute.
Good job, John. Good job saying something stupid that's only stupid because of what I said afterwards.
Yep. It's a joint effort.
Yeah.
Community.
Sorry. In this case, you are your brother's keeper. I need all of our comments on every show should be, John, you really need to put a muzzle on him.
You're the only one they like.
That's not true. They don't like either of us.
That's true. But so Navarre ends up coming back in the morning after the Imperius tells him the whole story. Tells Matthew Broderick the whole story, how this happened. And that Imperius is to blame because he knew about their love and he confessed it to the bishop, and the bishop was
I think they said he drunkenly, he was just kind of hammered and said,
just because the whole thing is because she turns into a bird during the day and he's a wolf at night. Navarre shows up and Navarre's like, I should fucking beat you up. I don't like you. Pierce is like, but guess what? I figured out a way to break the curse. It needs to be a day without a night and a night without a day.
And it is here's the annoying thing. Just say a fucking eclipse, asshole.
They don't know that. They don't know what an eclipse is.
Of course they do. No. We've known about eclipses from 6000 BC.
Right.
Eclipses happened frequently. This is really annoying.
This movie takes place on Krull. They have no idea about eclipses.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah. Or it's on Zeist.
Yeah. If you read the expanded lore, you would know this.
Now, would you like
this
movie?
You did not come to this movie prepared.
Would you like this movie more if at the end it said, "Oh, by the way, we're on Zeist"?
Yeah, that would. I mean, any movie is really better if actually, we're immortals we're actually aliens.
Yes. I'm stifling a lot of bad jokes here. That tower that they're at, the kind of knockdown castle, gets attacked by henchmen, and it's a fun little fight scene. But there's one stunt that I feel like might be like that guy's head getting run over in The Golden Idol, or whatever the hell that movie is called.
Order of the Black Eagle.
Order of the Black Eagle, yeah. There's a guy that falls off like a rampart, and it hits real hard. And I think it's a dummy, but it doesn't look enough like a dummy. And the Foley they did was gross. So like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think I'm pretty sure it's just a dummy.
Right.
But they did it really, like, it was a dummy that they put, like, appropriate weight distributed across the dummy, not just, like, you know, where you see the arms waving, and it lands hard.
Yeah, they stuffed it full of ground beef.
And it makes me feel like, oh, maybe this was, you know, because they always say, like, stunt actors, put in the one I got hurt. Like, that's an honor to me. Like, was that, oh no, he wasn't supposed to go over the wall. Like, that was supposed to be stop, and then, yeah.
I also liked the bit, because all the bishops are coming up to the castle, and the
this is a chess metaphor.
Yeah,
the bishop going to the castle. The pawns are going.
One night in Bangkok, baby.
She's a queen.
Yeah, but like he has these kind of traps set up, but it's more just like it's a shitty building. And like when he makes the bridge fall away, he's like, "Sorry, I'm a monk, not an architect."
Yeah,
and I thought as a little like one-liner, I'm for it.
And there's another good spot where on their way in, he's like, "Stay to the left." Obviously, this is a piece of shit bridge.
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Stay to the left," and makes the guy chase him to the right, and he falls. Like it's a nice, there's a fun kind of Home Alone sequence. Correct.
Yeah.
It's just I didn't want to have to wait through 20 minutes of going. Actually, the really boring part hasn't even happened yet. Yeah, so they escape. Oh yeah, okay. So, this is where the talk about Matthew. So, Matthew Broderick is hanging out with Ladyhawke, and she's in her hawk form. And he's like, would you understand me? Oh, no, this is before he understands me. He says, he starts petting her breast. Like, literally, her breast.
Yeah.
Where you like on a turkey, or an eagle, or whatever the hell this thing is. A hawk.
A hawk.
No, that's the thing. I don't think it's a hawk. I think it's a falcon.
Okay.
Maybe it is a hawk. I thought it was anyway. I mean, I knew it wasn't an eagle. I was just trying to come up with the other word. I thought the trained one were falcons. I mean, I get you. What the hell am I talking about? You can probably train you can train a fucking raven. But anyway, he's sitting there petting her tits and saying, "Oh, I used to eat hawks. I used to like eating hawks. That's my favorite thing to eat." Well, think about that from like a 40-year-old guy with a stilted sense of humor and like hasn't had sex in a few years.
Oh, pervert.
That is a fucked up thing to say. Also, hey, I'm hanging out with my friend's girl. Yeah, she changed shapes, so I'm just going to rub her tits and talk about how I want to eat her.
You're probably thinking about the Middle Ages.
John, just because there's Middle Ages doesn't mean oral didn't exist.
That's true. There's pictures. I didn't take. I'm glad.
No, of course you didn't. Why would you? As I said earlier, I have very little to talk about in this movie, so all of my dumb notes that I usually just skip past, I'm saying out loud in hopes that we can cobble together something, because this movie's stupid.
I don't go that far. There's
not
a whole lot to say about it.
No, it's not stupid. It is a fine, it's a movie you watch. The fact that it made it to our day, that people remember it well enough to make a reference to it, is the only thing that bothers me about it.
I think it's it's got something going for it, but I think there's a reason it's not held up to the same pantheon. But I did like, speaking of things I like about this movie though, is that to get the wolf, the bishop hires this guy Cesar, played by Alfred Molina, who's just a trapper.
Yes,
he's not some like super leather clad dude that's like, I'm the best wolf trapper in the world, and you can tell that because I'm good at kung fu or anything like that. He's a gross weirdo.
Yeah.
That's like just a brute. And he's like, I'm good at putting down traps and catching wolves. And that's it. That's it for his character. And I kind of like that. It wasn't anything more than what it needed to be.
They had a great sequence where he's hunting wolf pelts, and he runs into Michelle Pfeiffer. And she's like, oh, that's fucking gross, whatever. And there's a sequence where he's setting up traps to try to trap Rutger Hauer and Wolf. And there's a fight sequence. She straight up stabs him, which is great. But then she shoves his head in a fucking bear trap.
Yeah.
I guess a wolf trap. It's fucking brutal.
And just kind of hangs out while it's happening.
She's kind of fine with it.
Yeah. Which, hey, it's the love of your life. He's caring for your cloaca this whole time. Pay it forward.
Hey, John, I appreciate you trying to back me up and like being there for me, but don't lower yourself to my level.
Trying to pay it forward.
Honestly.
Have you ever seen the movie Pay It Forward? It's literally about this. It's about Kevin Spacey's cloaca.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably why he's all weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Epstein having an egg-shaped dick. Kevin Spacey has a cloaca.
We need to form a special squad.
Oh, God. The Avengers, weird dick, East Coast.
But so, yeah, Navarre doesn't believe it. Imperius said, is like, I'm going to go kill that'll solve
You know why he didn't believe it? Because he didn't use the word eclipse.
Yeah.
If you just said, there's going to be eclipse, and you go, What's that? Even if you just know what, you go, oh, yeah, well, the moon's going to be in front of the sun. And he goes, oh, yeah, that would be like it's night and day at the same time. Hey, that's a good point. Let's use our reason and go forward like this.
Nope, didn't have any of that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how often do eclipse.
Frequently.
Yeah.
Like full eclipses, not that frequently, but like lunar eclipses happen, I don't know, once a year, maybe once every couple of years. I mean, the fact is you're aware.
But that's a nighttime thing.
But still, you're aware of the phenomenon. Like it's not odd to have an eclipse happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can remember 2 in my life, and I'm probably
know. If you're turning into a wolf, are you like totally confident about what you know to be real, man?
Yeah, even more so. my whole Lupin
I guess that's
theory.
true.
So here's something I have that we haven't gotten into, and I think we really need to because it's going to come up in the rest of the film. Rutger Hauer's horse walks like an asshole.
Well, is that some dressage shit?
I don't know what it is, but it bothers shit out of me. I at this point, it broke me, and I said, "Fuck you, you poncy piece of shit."
Mm-hmm.
It has got the dumbest high step little dainty.
It felt like dressage because when he breaks into the cathedral later, and it is just it's sashaying down that
horse
runway.
Started to really. I've never had this kind of feeling at a horse. I'm like, I don't like that horse's personality. Like it was like really bothering me, and I have multiple notes of the rest of the film of that stupid fucking horse. I think it's better than me.
Could be the trainer. You're blaming the horse.
Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. Right. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, in this case, you're hating the player because the game made the rapper of the game. He was the horse trainer.
No, I meant the movie starring Ice-T.
Oh,
yeah.
That's surviving the game.
Yeah, shit, I know there's a movie called The Game. I went for it.
That's Michael Douglas. But so they get into after they have their run-in with Cesar. They get into Aquila. Matthew Broderick breaks back in from the sewers.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
We did skip one. There's 2 things here just that I want to really quickly. Mm-hmm. Where they fall through the ice.
Yes.
Okay, so 1, this took fucking forever. This was the longest sequence ever. But 2, Matthew Broderick's plan, and he's the smart guy that's good with words. His way of escaping the ice is to crawl out on it a little bit and then jam a sword into the ice he's currently standing on and tie a rope to it.
Now, there is something I do like the through line of each one of them saving each other at different times.
Yes.
Like, I like that as a subtle element, but at this time, someone go do something, please. Yes. Like, he's going to change into a wolf? Huh. That's crazy. So he's going to do that again?
And this is where the 9-minute sequence of them changing happens, where his eyes look cool. Now, his eyes did look cool, which saves it a little bit, but we just sat through this water escape, which took so fucking long. And that's why I feel like I was too rough on the front half of this movie. Like, if we were doing this in commentary form, like first time we watched it and then commented on it together, I would have been so much happier in the front and so much more forgiving to the film, and then starting to really hate it. And then, but the problem is, I back painted it, that the front of the movie kind of sucks a little bit, because like, oh, if I only knew there was going to be this. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to point that out, because it takes forever, and that's where the cool eye effects, because also it cuts to a really quick dissolve between her and a bird, but you see bird eyes in her eyes.
Right,
so it's it's a nice little thing. Anyway, you were saying sewer thing.
So then they were able to, now that Navarre is a little bit more on board with the whole thing, that he's like, okay, well, this guy saved me. Maybe he's all right. Let's maybe try this out. They go to Aquila. Matthew Broderick breaks back in, reverse escapes, as someone.
Oh, the only quote I wrote down of him when he's doing that reverse escape is he starts talking to the god again. And this is vaguely what his quote is. It's like, oh, it looks like we've come full circle here, which I would like to believe has some meaning, which would reflect well on you. That's a fun bit of like literally saying to God, oh, that would reflect well on you if my story having a circular arc. I was like, oh, that's a fun little bit. Yeah.
Which that bit earlier that I liked, where Matthew Broderick gets in when he's covering for Navarre, and the bishop cops are like, which way did he go? He went south. Well, we should go north because he's lying. Yes, but I know that he's lying. That we know that he's lying. So we're going to send him south. And he's like, God, if I'm supposed to tell the truth, what the hell? This is not helping me.
I forgot. That was fun. Yeah.
But anyway, so Navarre's a little bit more on board, and they're supposed to. I think he's supposed to get a sign like that.
If you mean the sign is that he was going to break into the church and kill Lord Bishop asshole. If he doesn't, that means the church service will end and the bells will ring. If Ignatius O'Reilly, what's his name?
That's Imperious,
hears the bells, he's to kill Ladyhawke in her hawk form. Even though it's already had the eclipse and should be a woman by now, but fuck it, we need to tell a story.
Right.
That he's to kill her to take her out of her misery. Which again, this would work as a plot point if he couldn't just ask for her consent in about 12 hours. Because he just said, kill this, I'm sure that's what she'd want. That would make sense if you're always a bird and you have to speak for her.
Right.
You literally could just wait.
Well, but this is
till like
this is
daytime.
the Middle Ages, and that's his property.
You're asking a priest to murder a woman. I think you could wait a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Rutger Hauer. Obviously, Rutger Hauer, he's old school. He solves things with a sword. I'm saying Ignatius. I'm never going to remember Imperius.
Would the curse still be in place though? One of them died.
Well, I mean, we can get to how the curse breaks at the end. We have to have a bit of. I mean, do we have to talk about anything? Yeah, we should.
Well, just go in there. I will say I love Rutger Hauer's helmet. His
helmet
cool.
is good, and that's the other kind of chirpy shot they do. They have a nice from in-helmet shot where it's like 3 bars covering it, which is an odd choice for this movie. I mean, I just like that they're at least making a choice. They're doing something a little different because this movie is boring.
When I saw that helmet, I'm like, I wonder what that looks like, and I gotta see it. Yeah.
There's a really long fight between him and bad guy cop
that essentially ends with the bad guy cop just kind of throwing himself on.
Well, I mean, we have to, yes. But first, they fight while they're on horses. And that Ponzi piece of shit horse is doing his thing like, yeah, like my stupid hooves, I can lift them so high walking.
If the horse is a listener to the show, we're screwed.
But let me just say this. You know who wouldn't fight like that in a church?
He-Man.
Sir Ulrich von Liechtenstein.
Because
he walked into a church once on a horse.
Yeah.
And he was so ashamed, he turned around and left. Once, he spent 6 months in complete solitude to understand the sound of a whisper.
This is not going to be a Knight's Tale. I'm sorry, this movie is not going to do it for you.
Hey, you know what? Instead of doing this, how about we just repost the Knight's Tale? And then I can just remember what it was like to be happy.
And just say Hawk occasionally during it.
But yeah, there's a fight sequence where they're on horses. And I just wrote, this is impressive horsemanship, but yikes, it's boring to me. Because I bet you if you know how to ride a horse, that whole sequence is really impressive. Because the horse falls at one point, which I think is like very hard for them.
Sure.
I'm sure that's great. But like, I've seen fucking Avengers. Like, I'm not saying that's a great movie, but I've watched the Chitauri invade New York and have shit explode. I can't be excited by a horse walking slightly differently than I'm accustomed to.
Sure. I mean, maybe in the go-go 80s band.
That's right. I mean, possibly. I mean, what the hell else did you have to look at?
Right.
Oh, wait, we've already blown up the fucking Death Star after the trench run. No, this is boring even for its time.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not the most exciting thing.
No, but the good thing about it is it lasts a really long time.
It lasts a very long time. And then, so eventually they're able to confront the bishop. The eclipse happens and they're both people and hooray.
Yeah. Oh, the bishop decides so he's like, you have to look at her. Rutger Hauer screams at the bishop.
Yeah, he says, look at me, look at her, look at your thumb. Gee, you're dumb.
Hey,
and that's where that came from.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to know.
1300s. Explained, asked and answered. The bishop is emoting in some variety. I don't know what it is. And then he decides to kill her. I mean, I guess, whatever, he's mad.
Yeah, he's been foiled.
So Rutger Hauer throws his sword that Matthew Broderick had previously claimed to have been lost, but Matthew Broderick, of course, saved it, and impales him through a chair, and there's a weird glowing effect on the back of the sword. And it's not enough to or maybe it's the transfer. Maybe it was supposed to be like there's more screen on the left and right. I forget what that's called. That's possible. It was just sort of like a hint of glow. It's like that probably cost $30,000 back then, and it just
that's all they can afford.
There's nothing there, and
we're out of glow budget.
This is really odd. If anybody ends up watching this afterwards, I can't imagine after this glowing review you'd sit through this slop. But like this is this weird glow. But anyway, so it's like, hey, kill them, and then they Rutger Hauer and Michelle Pfeiffer meet in the middle, like, oh, I love you so much, and they're having a nice reunion. It's nice. But there was a discussion earlier of if you kill that guy, does the curse break? And they pretty much said no. So does the curse break now that they're...
Well, the curse has been broken already because they confronted him both in human form. That's all that needed to happen.
You had to confront him in human form.
Yeah. So I think by him looking at both of them, that did it. So now he's free to die.
Now he can just die.
Yeah.
Okay. It didn't feel resolved to me, but I think I missed because you have to confront him in human form. I guess I didn't realize. I thought he had to I thought confronting him meant you had to force an apology or something. You had to actually do something other than you just needed to be in a room near him.
I think that was it. You basically just need them both anytime.
Yeah. I mean, fine. Yeah, cool. There's a beautiful moment between the Imperious Curse and Matthew Broderick, and they're walking away kind of in the background, and he's like, you'll meet me at the pearly gates, little mouse. And Matthew Broderick responds, I'll meet you there, even if I have to pick the lock to get in.
Yes.
Which whatever. It's cheesy as hell, but it's the perfect level of cheese.
But that bit at the end where they're hugging each other, they're watching this happen. Matthew Broderick's crying and they're hugging each other. That felt earned
it was
lovely
good.
and nice.
Yes.
I dug it.
Those two were not the problem with the film.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard because honestly, this movie's fine. It's kind of like trying to review microwave popcorn. It's just
totally.
It's there. It's
Yeah,
not the greatest thing ever. It's fine. I think it's got some pacing problems, and like you're either going to be on board with that soundtrack or I personally was. I thought it was ridiculous.
I thought the soundtrack was dope. Yeah,
but there's just not a ton here to get excited about. I think it's like, check it out. Don't, whatever. It's fine.
The thing that I think the main problem here, and if I'm talking about you, I'm going to apologize because it's not your fault, but I 100% blame whatever listener told us we should watch this show.
I thought you did.
No, I asked for, I think this goes back a while. I asked for movies from like the 80s or whatever, or I forget, I don't know. I don't remember what the thought was, but yeah, Ladyhawke came up. I think it's come up multiple times. And you're the type of person that thinks Goonies is a good movie because you watched it when you were 6. And you don't understand that there's a difference between the shiny thing on the TV when you were young and a quality film. And I know you're not going to listen to the show anymore. And I'm sorry.
Oh, you're not talking to me.
No.
Okay,
I'm
I was like, how dare you?
No, but I think you understand that.
Right,
like, when I say I love the movie UHF, nowhere in that statement do I think the movie UHF is good. I just mean I love it. And that's just all I want for people to understand, that just because you watched it when you were young doesn't mean it's good. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry to whoever suggested Ladyhawke. I really hope you stay around. But this is 100% your fault. You kind of ruined John and I's weekend, and you kind of owe me a Patreon subscription because this was tough.
I won't go that far.
I'm not going that far either.
Yeah. I just
honestly, I would love to have a podcast host yell at me. I mean, that would give me such joy.
You're a creepy pervert. Of course you would be into that.
I didn't say I was going to whack it while doing it. I didn't say I wasn't going to.
But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It didn't ruin my weekend. We have another episode to record about that. Yeah, it's hard to get excited about, but it's hard to be mad at either. So,
all right, recommendations. We've spent a long time talking about a movie. Neither of us. I have one recommendation. I have been recommended many times to watch this show, and I've bristled at it. You may even be one who has, because it stars a comedian, and I have no spot for comedy, even though it's not a comedy. I watched Barry. I think it's HBO show.
Yes.
I watched the first kind of season and a half, and it, although not as good as the waves of people that have recommended it to me, have told me, it is a very good show. Yes. I enjoyed it greatly. There is a scene, and no spoilers, but there's a scene with a little girl in a fight, which might be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's a great episode.
It is so fucking good. The comedy in it, I think, is crisp. The action stuff is actually really good. Like, so it holds up on both fronts. And the guy, not the head of the Chechen mob, but the lead Chechen mob, the bald guy. He played Victor Zsasz on Gotham.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I love him as an actor. Anytime he shows up and stuff, he chooses just to be off just enough. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm saying that, I'm not even sure if that's the same actor. But either way, I love that guy. Yeah.
NoHo Hank.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, totally fucking Barry is well worth watching.
Yeah. Stephen Root is so good in that. I love him.
Yeah. Stephen Root is great in everything.
Flipping Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
Just devastating in that movie. And just so good. Yeah. That's a great one. I would recommend on the heels of this movie, The Green Knight. I was able to see that.
Oh, the one that's out like right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved it. And I don't, obviously with everything that's going on, spikes and all that, your comfort level, but I am so glad I saw it on the big screen. It is a movie worth having that experience for, but I can't necessarily say it's totally safe. You should go to a theater.
Yeah.
I feel we're recommending that, but I am glad I've actually seen it twice now and got a lot different out of it both times.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, really dug it. If you're a huge Arthurian nerd, maybe your mileage will vary. I sort of revisited the original in between viewings, and I think that's why I got more. I want to say more, but different things out of it the second time.
What's the original?
Sir Gawain and the Green. It's from Arthur. It's like stuff.
And there's a movie.
There's a version with Sean Connery that they made. I think there's been a couple of versions, but this is different from those. It really meanders away from fairly significant. I've never seen one of this guy's movies before. He made the Pete's Dragon remake, Joy, A Ghost Story, Ain't Them Bodies Saint. No. I've never seen a Dev Patel movie either. And I think it's got a great cast and visually very pretty. And they made it for $15 million.
Really?
More inventive and pretty than
from the trailer. That looks like a lot more
like the Tomorrow War. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. So if you feel comfortable seeing it in a theater, do. Otherwise, maybe you have a nice.
So John says, get a big TV. John.
Yes.
If anything, this movie had that I kind of resonated was the Latin chanting. of I was thinking the next movie, we should do one with a Ponzi Latinate title.
Boat Trip with Cuba Gooding Jr., Horatio.
Yeah, also starring Quintus Pontimus Caesarium.
Yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah. I mean, yes, and we'll end up doing Ad Astra, the 2019 movie starring Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones, Ruth Negga.
This whole show is just a cul-de-sac of improv.
It is.
Like, it's just, yes, and there's nowhere to go from.
Well, the next, look, we're keeping this part in. The next episode's going to be better. It's so, I've just spent an hour trying to talk about a fucking movie that I have nothing to say about. Yeah, my brain is in a very weird place now.
It's really hard when you're like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, we just did an hour on a shrug.
Yeah, basically.
All right, so next up we're doing Ad Astra, starring Brad Pitt, 2019. John and I haven't seen it. Looks kind of good.
Yeah.
I like Brad Pitt, so yeah.
There's space, there's Brad Pitt.
And Ruth Negga is in it. Ruth Negga is great.
Oh, she's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, she's on that one TV show that I like. Mm-hmm. I like the first season, then gave up
Grey's
on it.
Anatomy.
Not her fault. Preacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. She might be on Grey's Anatomy. Who knows? Okay, so we're going to watch Dr. McSexy starring in Ad Astra.
That's the only one you need.
See you next week.